guys, it's Liz. Welcome back to the channel where we play Minecraft for 24 hours straight and forget why we're alive. Hope you're making the most of it. Today I'll be drawing Hen as an amputee. I recently posted a tutorial on my website that details how to incorporate amputations into your character design, and I wanted to play with that just a little bit here. Today's video is going to be a pretty light one. Things in my life are kind of weird right now. I am getting a new job. My official first day is going to be on Tuesday, and my work schedule, I'll be working on my upload days, so I might have to change some things right there. There are some personal problems that I won't be sharing. My life is kind of a bowl of soup right now. So hang tight with me, please, and thank you. Originally, I set out for Hen to have a below-knee amputation, but I squashed some of her proportions to make her more cartoony looking. So I think that I'm gonna go with a knee disarticulation instead. If you're interested in seeing my breakdown of how different levels of amputation will affect your character design, there's a link in the description for the article that I wrote about it. I kind of described that article as a diving board into a pool of knowledge. It's a massive amount of information that I put in there, but it's still just barely scratching the surface of how many different ways that a character can experience this and recover and adapt. Yeah, I give a lot of information, but it's definitely just the tip of the iceberg. So for a knee disarticulation, it's significantly harder to recover from as opposed to a below knee amputation, just because it's harder to adjust to losing access to the way your knee bends. It's just a difficult thing for physical therapists and prosthetic engineers. I don't know what that occupation is called, but when designing a prosthetic limb, it's difficult to create a proper piece of equipment that can adjust to losing such an important joint, especially for a character like Hen, because she is larger. The socket that will go on her leg will probably fluctuate more because she is a bigger girl, and also she works out. That will change that'll change how she deals with having a prosthetic limb. And also, what am I forgetting here? I don't know. I might set her up with some technology to make the process easier, but not totally pull it out of real life, just because I do have to keep the story kind of rolling, and I will have to learn how to incorporate the struggles of recovering from an amputation into the story now. Disarticulations are pretty rare for lower limb amputees. Just so you know, a disarticulation is where you don't actually cut into the bone. It's where you separate the bones. I hope that's not too gross. Sorry. I think it's cool. I think it's an interesting field of study. But yeah, it's pretty rare just because of the types of circumstances that a real person would have to go through. Because of the circumstances that requires the procedure, it's pretty rare that they can get away with a disarticulation, especially since around the joints there's a lot going on, so it's hard for a surgeon to separate that. So for Hen's case, I'm thinking I may have a traumatic injury, like a crushing injury that gets really close to the knee, and there's just not enough below the knee that's worth saving. I'll have to figure that out later. All of that will be managed in the next chapter. It's both a spoiler yet for you and me, because it doesn't exist yet. And it seems that we're in kind of a diversity renaissance. As of the last couple months, people are setting out to make sure that they see themselves in the media that they consume. Minority populations are making sure that their voices are heard. As a lesbian, I am personally hell-bent on creating lesbian characters that survive and thrive. I want to see stories of lesbian characters who fall in love and survive to the end, and they thrive and they're happy. I think I said this in the last video, but if I wanted fiction to make me feel worse, then I would watch Fox News. Yeah. I'm mostly white and basically cis and entirely able-bodied, so including aspects into a protagonist that are contrary to that will take time for me to properly include. I can't just slap a different skin color on a character and act like that's all it takes to add diversity. I don't want to be that person. For instance, Al Frontera is supposed to be Latina American, or Latinx. That's a step for me into making my characters more diverse by staying close to my own ethnicity. I'm Puerto Rican, as my mother has referred to me growing up. My grandfather is from Puerto Rico, so I'm just visibly brown enough for people to ask about it. I am also short and kind of leaning on the gender fence, nothing extreme. Fleshing out Al's character into being noticeably Latinx without being offensive or stereotypical is a first step for me into fleshing out future protagonists who have more different experiences than what I personally have gone through. So why did I want to make a tutorial about amputating a character's limbs? Well, my occupation as an EMT and my personality disorder as an artist have been making eyes at each other for about a year now. So I think it's time that they open-mouth tongue kiss in front of the children. It's time. I'm not entirely sure how I want to organize it, but I want to create a body of work for people to reference when they're writing about people with chronic conditions that maybe I see all the time. So if you have any suggestions for what medical information or mumbo-jumbo that you want me to kind of simplify, then feel free to leave a comment and tell me like what type of medical information are you wanting to see in a way that is digestible. I wanted to start with amputations just because it's such a noticeable condition. I think I should have broken the article I wrote into 2 sections just because it's a massive piece of work. I could have gone more into depth about where different foot amputations happen. I could have gone into more details about the different types of prosthetics. Like, I wish I spent more time on the prosthetics because by the time I got to that part, you can tell that I was running out of steam very, very quickly. It's a massive piece of work still. Next week's article is going to be very simple, just so I have the time to write the next chapter of my story. Because of the universe that my characters are traveling to next, I think it would be a good chapter to create the incident of this amputation. I'm really behind on a lot of work for my online presence. I've been really busy playing Minecraft. Like, so much Minecraft. Like, let me talk about it for a second, kind of so much Minecraft. So I started a world near a village with 3 little villager children, okay? So when they grew up, I had 2 weaponsmiths and a cleric. The the job sites spawned right next to each other for the weaponsmiths, so they were working together a lot. And then once I started building housing for everyone, they were also sleeping next to each other. And the cleric was kind of just off to the side. He was sleeping on his own. He would talk to the other two, but it was mostly the weaponsmiths that were talking together. So he was basically just like the third wheel in this village. So eventually, it got to a point where they were getting ready to breed. And the W Smiths have been so close this whole time. I thought they'd have a kid together, you know? But no, one of the fucking Smiths cheated and bred with the cleric. So now we have this bastard child running around the village, and the Smiths are still sleeping and working together. Like, what the fuck? So once this little douchebag grows up, he becomes a farmer, yeah? I didn't know what to expect in the next round of villager breeding, but I wasn't expecting what I saw. The scorned weaponsmith bred with the bastard child. Oh my god, I witnessed an absolute MILF maneuver in the town square, and I couldn't even blame her. Like, who else is she gonna bang? Because it's clearly not gonna be her husband. So I have... It's been a couple days. I have like 20 or 30 villagers now, and the weaponsmiths still sleep together. So, you know, just small town drama. It's kind of a metropolis a little bit. Like, I have an apartment complex and all that. It's growing fast. So I'll leave the seed excuse me, I'll leave the seed in the description in case anyone is interested in playing it for themselves. The buildings have a lot of good shit in them, and there's also a nether portal that's not too far of a walk from your spawn point. The portal drops you off in one of those blue mushroom forests or whatever, so there's a lot of cool stuff that is naturally generating, like, around your spawn point. I really like that world so far. I've absolutely destroyed my sleep schedule by playing this stupid fucking game. I think my playstyle is similar to how people play Animal Crossing or The Sims or something, except sometimes I'll just fuck off to mine resources for a couple hours and get totally lost in a mine shaft. I really like the villager mechanics in the game, so I tend to focus on building up cities because I like the building aspect of Minecraft. So I like making a farm and then have someone who can do that for me. I'm normally not satisfied with how they farm. I wish they kind of only did one element of produce at a time instead of putting potatoes in my wheat farm. I hate that. Like, I hate that I can't have automated farms like that. So overall, I like the villager mechanics in the game. I was having a lot of trouble with the breeding aspect of it in my last save file because it was bugged. So it kind of dampened my appreciation for it. Plus the villages were far away from where I was actually living in the game, so it was just a lot of walking. It was kind of a pain. As for this piece, I really wish that I used a reference for the pose. This was a spur of the moment kind of drawing. It's good to have those sometimes. It's okay to not use references for every single drawing. You can't expect yourself to agonize over every single little thing. Sometimes it's best to just get the idea down. So I really like how this came out. It's a strong contender for a future redraw, for sure. My goal with this piece was to see Hen Rietta as an amputee, and she's also just really fun to draw. She's such a cutie. And she's also really withdrawn in the story, so I like to make her nice whenever I can. So that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to thumbs up, etc., etc. And I will see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye!